Today I had the pleasure to speak with Mistress Elaine Walker, a farmer, a pastor, a community leader, humanitarian, justice of the peace, an inspector of poor at the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation for over 35 years, an extraordinary Jamaican woman. And today she's going to share her inspirational story with us. I hope that her story will inspire younger Jamaicans to look out for their neighbors, just as Miss Elaine Walker is looking out for the community of Mavis Bank in St. Andrew, Jamaica. You're watching Shan Zen Zen Jamaican Vibes. Inspiring, motivating, showcasing Jamaican talents, and giving back to my Jamaican people.
So, my name is Elaine Walker, otherwise called Sister June. And Sister June is the name that everybody in this community calls me. I think it was from a very, very tender age, maybe because of I'm being very, very caring and helpful from a tender age, not only to my family, but to the entire community. However, I was grown up in a farming area where my mother left for England and father. So they left 5 kids or children with my grandparents, Mr. and Mistress Leonard Sterling, deceased. But they did a good job because I was grown up to see them doing farming in a way where it's not only like coffee farming. They did just about everything, vegetable farming and so on. Mm-hmm. But throughout my years when I was growing up, and with my uncle as well, because we have a 9-acre land where water kind of wash it away now, some of it, where we used to have like a lot of orange tree and grapefruit and that kind of thing. So they were like a big farmer, different granduncles and so on. But we had to go on that farm at the time to get those produced for my grandmother to take to the market and for other persons to buy. But it's quite a little walking distance. However, at the time, as a child, we had no choice to do what we had to do. So we had to be there. My uncle, he was one of those who would farm tomatoes and cane and so on. And then, you know, as a child, we have to take his breakfast. We have to help him to shake up. We have to help him before we go to school as well. So it's like doing that before we go to Mount Fletcher Primary School at the time.
So you grew up farming?
I grew up farming.
Yes.
Real farming.
Yeah.
You know, at the time. And we have to take loads from different areas. As I said, we have to take like the tangerine from that area of the bush. They call that Warner bush. We have to take from Cloggy, another bush. Then we have to take from other areas in Robertsfield to catch the truck at the time.
Yes.
But as a child growing up, I was praying to God that God, if you could help me, that I really don't want to go into the farming. I was really praying, you know, because I think it was like really hard for me to go to the farm and to go back to school and that kind of thing. So I prayed to God, and I tell you, God answered, because after I left primary school, I went to high school in Kingston. And I got my GCs and so on, and I was happy. But although I went there and was staying in Kingston, I had to come back in the area to take care of my grandpeople, see that they, you know, the chores, daily chores, been taken care of.
Right.
God has helped me from there, that I left high school and I went to university. I did social work and so on, and then I was employed at the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation. At the time, it's Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, where I was employed as an assistant inspector of poor for 35 years. I worked at that department, and from there I started to get a love for farming back. Like maybe because the seed was sown. So I had somebody who I would buy the coffee seedling from and ask somebody to, not really ask, you pay them a money maybe not big money, but you pay them to take care of it. But it wasn't really taken care of, not until I left the job, and then I started to put in all that I have in this farming. So I started to get new seedling, get new thing, get other things, plant the coffee, spray the coffee, and so on. And when my husband saw that I've been paying a lot of that, Clifton Walker, he, not a man that is interested in coffee. He does like vegetable and flowers.
Right.
So he was kind of maybe sorry for me. So he came in and said that he's going to help me, that I get something off the farm. And that is what he did. You know, so we planted more coffee, and able now, and I love it. I really love doing that now. I keep going down there. It's not like a really level land. It's like a hillside land. But I tend to, you know, put on my shoes and go down on the farm and so on. So it's something that I really love to do. And since I started to take it over, I started to be able to take coffee into the coffee factory, have my own name there now, and when you get the coffee to sell, you take it to the Mavis Bank Coffee Factory, of which I had a brother as well, is Lloyd Sterling, and Lloyd is one who, although he's abroad, I think he left Jamaica when he was 14, but he loved the farming. I don't know how he managed. When he comes to Jamaica, he would take his cutlass and go maybe about 4 miles from here, walk it up to the hills with 9 acres, maybe about 7 acres of coffee and bananas and so on. So I am in charge to pay these men and so on. So, and then he takes his coffee to the Mavis Bank Coffee Factory too. So right now,
so even though he's overseas, he still employs person. He has his farm still. And
and he employs person. He send the money down to pay these men. You know, on the farm, like we would have sometimes 4 men on the farm every day, and so on. So my husband now, seeing that it's quite a distance and we have to walk, he's the one that oversees it for me. He walks, go up, like to see when the men work, to see that when they, if they work properly for them to get the pay. Because you know, you have the kind of little scammers now that they say that they work and they don't work. So you have to make sure that somebody would be there, because you know, I can't go there every day. So the farming is very important, and as ladies, I think we could get more ladies involved in time. First time you think like farming was something neglected or something of the past where persons should not get involved, but it's something that you can put your whole mind and whole self in, and your money too, because it's kind of expensive now, even to get the fertilizers, and we have to buy the manure and so on to put in this.
You have to buy seeds or seedlings.
We have to buy the seedlings to get to plant and so on. So and to keep it going too, that it don't full of grass, you have to get men working to clear the coffee place as well, and to cut down, you know, which I did a little cut down at the farm because some of them were growing too tall.
How much acres is your coffee farm now?
Mine is over an acre.
Oh, it's over an acre.
Yeah, mine is over an acre, way down. It's over an acre. Some of them is a little big, some small, you know, but it's looking very good, especially now, you know, we're waiting for the crop to come back in again, where we can have the coffee seedlings, where we would pick the coffee coming up by next 2-3 months. They'll be able to be ripened and so on.
So, how long have you been farming the coffee?
Well, I tell you, it's over 15 years.
Yes.
It's over 15 years. But since I take it in hand, it's going 10 years.
Okay.
You're going that amount of years. But it's over 15 years that I've been having it in hand, you know.
But is it profitable?
It is getting back on track, because what we had the last time, it's where we're having some international problem with the coffee market. So the coffee price had dropped a bit, you know, you know, so what we're having now is that it's kind of climbing back again, which it gives you more gist. But even though it had dropped, I did not stop because I know that one day it will come again, because some
Yes.
persons abandon their coffee, but I
Yeah.
did not. Although the price went down, I still continue.
Okay. What's the name of the coffee that you plant?
It's a Blue Mountain.
Oh, it's a Blue Mountain coffee.
Yeah, Blue
Okay.
Mountain coffee. Because you see, we are situated near to the Blue Mountain.
Yes.
Yes. So it's a Blue Mountain real coffee.
Yes.
Real coffee. This one, we don't mix the coffee with the other countries.
Yes.
And persons take on to the Blue Mountain coffee because it has a different taste.
Yes.
It has a different taste than the
Because
other
of the
countries.
altitude at which it
Yes,
grows.
yes, and the kind of coolness
Yes.
and all that, and so on. I think is the texture of the soil as well, because
Yeah.
if you go to certain parishes in Jamaica, you have certain things that grows well, and I
Yeah.
believe is how the master situated,
Yes.
which is God Himself. He
Yes.
situates certain things to grow in certain parishes that would not grow in
Yeah.
other parishes. So each parish, I think God has laid down for persons to, get money, make money.
Yeah,
out of-
from different crops.
from different crops.
Yes,
From
because if
different
every crop was growing everywhere, then
Yes.
I think there would be a glut
Yes,
on the market.
there would really be a glut on the
Yes,
market.
so we
There would
have
be a
some
glut.
people who grow like St. Elizabeth with the seasoning,
Okay, good.
Yes,
Yes,
and
and
then-
that's what they call your parish again.
bread basket.
The bread basket of Jamaica.
Yes.
Yes, and I keep wondering, you have less water system, but you are
Yes.
still the bread parish, and it's God planned it so.
Yes, yes.
God planned it so.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
And I'm gonna ask you something outside of farming. I know that you're a pastor. How
Yeah.
long have you been pastoring?
Well, I was ordained as a reverend in 2017
Yeah.
at Top Road, where Mavis Bank, St. Andrew,
Yeah.
where I was grown up. My grandparents, they're the one who have given the land to the church, and I was grown up like from a tender age, and I got baptized at 12, where I did tell my grandfather, it's not any of them who have pushed me into this salvation. I got my own, like the Holy Spirit brought that revelation to me, and I got it, and I told my grandfather that I would love to be baptized at 10, but he told me I was a little too small. So I waited until 12, and I'm over 60 now,
Yeah.
and I thank God. I know I've made mistake and so on, not perfect. I went through high school, I went through primary school, and I hold to my faith to know that the God that I serve and the one that has chosen me will keep me until the end. So
Yes.
I've made up my mind. So I was chosen to the pastor at 2017. I've been an evangelist in the church. I've been a deaconess in the church.
Yeah.
And I've moved up to minister in the church. So, and now I am the reverend in the church. So I am doing the will of God, and I'm humbly sitting at His foot and listening to Him,
Yeah.
and doing what I can to assist this generation,
Yeah.
as the Bible says, to teach them, about the kingdom and the will of God. So I am just doing the will of God humbly
Yeah.
before Him, because He has chosen me.
Yeah.
He has chosen me. I can remember when I was in my teen, I got a vision, and that vision was when I saw this lady. When I went to church, I was in my dream, and I saw this lady who took over. It was like, a lot of pastors up there, and she called out and she said, it was the deacon who was doing these choruses. And then he gave the mic to this lady, and he was saying that many are called, but few are chosen. And I was a little disturbed in the dream, and I keep talking within my mind, how did she knows that? And I was young, and she pointed at me. And I got up, and she said to come. And then she put that kind of purple robe on me from I was that age. But I knew now, at the time I didn't understand, but I knew now where I'm going now and the level where I'm at. That it was the presence of God that she has covered me with, at that tender age, that I've been chosen to do His will. And I'm not only chosen for the church, I'm chosen for the community as well, because I can remember when I left high school, I didn't have a job. when I left high school, I wanted a job and I couldn't get a job. I asked my grandfather to give me a little plot of land where I could plant flowers. He did give it to me. And at the same time, I started a basic school in this same community, still going on. I left it to my cousin, and she's still going on with the basic school. I started it in 1978, creating my own job.
Yes.
Yes, I keep creating.
Yes.
So when I got the job, I started out with 100 student.
Oh, yeah?
Basic school student.
Yes.
I didn't go to college to learn, but what I learned at high school and primary school, I was able to impart that to these students. And when they went to primary school, the teacher was saying, I know that you come from Sister June school, because I was able to tell them 60 seconds, 1 minute, 60 minutes, an hour. I was able to tell them 30 days of September, June and November, and all the rest of 31. You understand? So I was able to give them big things. Yes, and give them the gems and so on. So I have a lot of them become great women and men tomorrow. I remember that I was going to Kingston, coming from Kingston in 1993 when we had that big earthquake, and the voice of the Lord revealed to me again that I was hungry and you never feed me. I was naked, you never clothed me. And tears running down my eyes. I had to put on my glasses because I was saying, what is this in the bus? It was one of those JOS buses. And when I started to look through it, it got a hole in my spirit. And I spoke to 4 teachers when I was coming from PTA at Mavis Bank Primary School. And they said, Sister June, you know that you want to do welfare. I said, but I'm taking care of my parents, I'm taking care of the people in the community. She said, you want to extend that.
Yes.
And I tell you, sister, what has happened, we started a Mavis Bank home care group with 4 members. And today the group is still going on. Tomorrow is the 29th. We're supposed to be having our home care group meeting where we meet the needs of persons who are in need of diapers. We have persons who are in need of that, persons who are in need of housing, persons who are in need of clothing, persons who are in need of children who are in need of help to go to school. So this group is a group that attend unto these kind of persons. Right now, the group is going over 29 years.
Wow.
Yes, 29 years, thank God. And every year we have a church service and a dinner. 2 years ago, 2 years plus, we couldn't have the church service or meet at the primary school where the elderly persons were able to come out, that they could come and show their talent. They would sing, they're glad to meet their friends because of the pandemic. But we were able still to cook and send the meal, like, we pay the buses and they would take the meal and their packages because we would ask persons to donate. And we have persons in our community who would give us like meat stuff, they would give us food stuff, and we would write and send out to other place in Jamaica. And they are always willing because they're looking forward for the letters. But what we are seeing, we're having more persons now, because last year we have 300. We have never.
Wow.
We had to cook again.
Yes.
We have 300 shut-ins, that we send the food to.
Yes.
So we're having more persons on board. We're having more persons who are shut in. And again, I think what had caused the shut-in too is the pandemic, where persons can't come out. So we look about that. We have a group, which is Sister Lorna Brooks. They were the ones who cook now. We have to go back on team again because the mental health officers are coming back to the community because of the pandemic. They had left. So they are coming back now on every 3rd Wednesdays, where we cook a hot meal for these persons at the Mavis Bank Health Center. So you see that we are really in need of finances and so on to assist to make the lives of these people, I wouldn't say a better way, better quality of life for these persons, because most of the mentally ill, they don't wash the clothing, so they need clothing and all that. Last year we were able to get a lot of clothing where persons come, persons donate clothing, and they come and they would come and take clothing for what they need and so on. So we are doing a great work with this voluntary group, and we have it is a charitable group too.
Yeah.
because we have registered with the government of Jamaica. So it's
Yeah.
a Mavis Bank Home Care and Benevolent Society.
Okay.
So we are, I think we are the only group that has been registered in this community
Yeah.
by the government. So
Okay.
so we are doing a great work. So away from the farming, away from other things,
Yeah.
I'm doing a great work here for the people in this community, and I give God thanks for that.
Yeah.
And I've never get tired. I have a passion for that, because sometimes you're doing your chores and somebody call you, like a justice of the peace. You know, somebody's at the police station. They need to be bailed and they need you to come, or something happened and they call. There are other justice of
Yes.
the peace, but persons need persons who are confidential,
Yes.
that they can
So
confide.
you're also a justice of the peace?
I'm also a justice of the peace
Oh.
in the area. Yes,
Well, you wear many hats.
yes, very many.
You're a big inspiration to even me myself, who is not from the community.
Yes.
Meeting you only for the second time.
Yes.
Never knew that you wore so many hats.
Yes.
And you are doing so much for your community. So I hope that the young people who live here
Yes.
can, look up to you as someone who is from the community and has done so much and is still doing well.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and what we do, because this voluntary group, we have the younger ones.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have to pass the baton on.
Yeah.
So we have the younger persons now. They are there for us to teach them. And this is where I saw in the Word of God, the Bible, where, that God will give us the strength to pass on our information to this generation. And this is important. I'm proud to hear about you as well as a young person, because some persons think it's only for older persons.
Yes.
But
Yes.
God has given us, each one of us, He has given us a task.
Yes.
And some persons, in the Bible, some persons start to be king at 8,
Yes.
some start at 20, some start at 40, different ages.
Yeah.
But God, and if you look at Joseph, I love to use him. As a young man, God called him from a tender age to lead his family.
Yeah.
But persons, did not understand or recognize the purpose that God has called. And if we can see the purpose within each other, it would be a better and a better and a better place.
Of course.
So I am, if you can look over there where we have like a barrel right there, whatever clothing we have, we put it down because we know we're going to need that
Yes.
for persons to come in and do. And if you can look over there too, we have some food stuff.
Yes.
Where we got from Food for the Poor yesterday.
Yes.
Where we have 26 districts.
Yes.
Yes, 26 districts that we give food to. So within each district, we have a leader there, and they would come back to the meeting to tell us what those persons who are in need of. Some might need like pit latrine or toilet. Some might need a house. And I want to tell you, when I went to a place they call Westphalia, the ICE settlement in Jamaica, and when I went there and I saw the living condition of some persons where they just cut board, a stick, and put some old clothing, I had to go in and be the advocate for these persons at Food for the Poor, where they send housing and furnitures at that time for those persons. So it's for us, you're not looking out for you, you're looking out for the needs of other persons, and you're not looking for the greedy either. You're looking for persons who are in need of help.
Yeah.
And the need is getting greater, especially within this pandemic. We have seen more persons now who are calling out and crying out for help, and at all times we try to see how well we can meet the needs as we go from day to day.
All right. It's such a pleasure to meet you, a role model in the community here at Top Road in Mavis Bank, St. Andrew. It's really a pleasure talking to you.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Thank you very much. It was really nice for you to come from St. Elizabeth.
Yes.
I really appreciate you, and to see as a young woman, a young farmer too.
Yes.
Yes.
And also in the field of humanitarian, because I also do something similar to what you're doing here.
Very good. Good. I think if we have a couple of persons who, because you see what has happened, help is one of the gifts.
Yes.
And some persons really don't want that one because it takes on a lot of your time
Yes.
and a lot of things. But the Bible says, blessed are those that consider the poor.
Yes.
Because when you're sick, he will heal you.
Yes.
Yes, and he will always provide for you because you look out
Yeah.
for the poor and needy. And he said in Matthew 25, he says that, you know, when I'm sick, you know, when I'm in prison, you don't visit. When I'm sick, you wasn't there. And the people says, the disciples said, Lord, when did I see you? He says, whatsoever you have done unto the least of these, you have done it unto him.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big, deep talk.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Goosebump.
Yes.
All right. So it was indeed a pleasure to speak to this extraordinary woman, Mrs. Elaine Walker, more popularly known as Sister June. Humanitarian, a pastor, a justice of the peace, a community leader, a farmer. As always, thank you so much for watching, and thanks for making it Shan Zen Zen Jamaican vibes. Until next time, walk good and look out for your neighbor.